Did you inherit $1 million from your grandparent, or are you about to become wealthy from someone else's hard work? If you say yes to these questions, this show is not for you. You, the hardworking, committed, and ambitious professional who have a 9-to-5 corporate job or a 12-hour shift worker keeping the assembly line running. Perhaps you run your gig as a freelancer, or maybe you run a small business. You are in the right place. Welcome to the Career Evangelist Podcast, where you get your weekly tips, ideas, strategies, and inspiration to find purpose in what you do so you can build a career you are passionate about and live a fulfilled life. Here is your host, Bola Alabi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Career Evangelist Podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to bring another exciting guest to you. We have Hoss. Hoss is an executive business coach. He's a Tony Robbins Certified Life Strategist, and he's also an author. Hoss has written a book, The Journey of Consciousness. Is talking about the path of least resistance to ego dissolution. He has over 17 years of experience as a senior corporate healthcare executive. He has led teams of thousands, offering profound insight into leadership, team building, and personal transformation. Hoss is a dedicated professional, is passionate about empowering individuals to uncover their strengths and achieve personal and professional mastery. Without keeping you guys waiting further, I'm excited to bring our guest, Hoss. Hey, Hoss, what's going on?
Well, my man, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you, man. Always exciting. So where are you joining us from today, Hoss?
I'm in Canada, north of Toronto. The city is called North Bay. It's been my home for the last 8 years. Originally, I was in Toronto for many years, and through many changes in my life, I decided to live my life as if I'm gonna die tomorrow. So I said, I'm gonna get a property that's, waterfront, private beach, beautiful estate. Why not? So that's where I land, and I love the community. It's a beautiful community, and as you can see, that the space behind me is my office. It's been a beautiful space for me to work, to serve my community. So it's been a beautiful journey.
You are living the life, and it's awesome to connect with you and talk about career, about passion. You are big in passion discovery, and I want to hear about your journey. What inspired your journey into leadership and business coaching?
Well, to be honest with you, so my background, as you said, I'm a former corporate healthcare executive. So I did that for many years. So I built dream teams for many corporations. And, when you Google me, you'll find quite a bit of history about the corporate experience that we were able to deliver results for many of the healthcare settings. And I think throughout the process, I definitely discovered something about myself, that I'm talented to discover someone's passion to deliver results. But again, when you're working with corporations, you're working within a very, defined and very identical, I would say, approach to delivering KPIs that is necessarily defined by that corporation. So meaning that, for example, if I'm working with you and I'm helping you to achieve your goals, that goals wasn't set by me, it was set by the corporation. Respect the corporation, obviously, to deliver results for them. So that will also limit you, because again, for example, Bola might be the best, for example, in a human connection, but he is the director of sales. So it's so hard to translate that human connection to a tangible KPI of sales in form of closing deals, because again, maybe he doesn't want to sell the product that he's selling in his role, but his talent is a human connection. He might make a best practitioner as someone who's helping people to find their true potential, but not necessarily selling a product that is not aligned with his personal values. So again, you're very limited in that space. But again, I was able to definitely connect with individuals in a deeper level And I think that kind of gave me the confidence that, you know what, my role as a coach and, as a leader, somewhat it would definitely will be aligned with my ultimate passion of giving back 110%, not in form of like, again, a structure setting like corporation, but more of like as an individual who is loving the life. But I think before that really came to flourishing, I hit my rock bottom personally. What happened was that, like anyone else, probably we all have a checklist. Am I right? Because through the domestication of society, we have this, checklist. You got to have a house or big house, a fancy car, fancy title, educated, being jacked. If you're a boy or girl, you have to own sexual fantasies, whatever. But what happens is that when you go through your checklist and you still feel like there's something missing, that's pretty fucked up. Because what happens is that you think, okay, you know what? Up to this point, I've been pursuing my goal. So there is that hope that there's a dopamine, you keep pursuing the goal that you thought, it would deliver you the result. But what happens at one point when you kind of get your hands on those actual dreams and you're still feeling there's something missing, then you question certain values and certain standards that was sold to you as a dream. So, you know what, when I was 27, 28, I was already working for senior living corporations, national, like, what do you call corporations. And, I would say from my career wise, I was hitting new ground every month because I was so good in operational management and I was good with the sales part. Combine them together, it doesn't, take much to rise, what do you call it, through the corporate ladder pretty fast. At the same time, I was an entrepreneur in my, what do you call it? I would say in my journey of entrepreneurship, I was flipping my own houses in Toronto. So I would buy a house, I flip it. And then, so I was a corporate executive and I was doing that. So in 5-6 years, I kind of built a little bit of money. So I had a very decent sized house, very decent location in Toronto. I have an okay car. I had a decent car actually. And then I was jacked. I was corporate executive. I was educated. It doesn't take that much to live a kind of a life that you thought it would be pretty cool for you to live it. I was, again, living a life that probably people in their 40s were trying to still achieve it to some degree. And you know what? Compulsive dating is not a remedy to some of these shortcomings either. Because again, when you feel, there's something's missing, one thing that you want to fill that in is that, maybe I would do some excessive dating, or maybe I would just become an annual party. And then again, you're super young too, which is very appropriate for that age. But when you combine so much of decision-making power with your expenditure, and you still don't feel the, what do you call it, the ecstasy that as you were hoping, that's where the despair grow. So, I thought it was the house you come in, it's big ass house, and then you feel like it's empty and you feel alone. So to be more included, I sold it. I bought a penthouse, sunrise to sunset, high ceiling. I got a design like a bachelor pad. And not that I'm proud of, but as a young boy, you don't know much about what's life and what's really truly meaningful. Playboy with their models, flew in and then they shoot a scene there. You thought that would make a boy happy. But again, nothing was really working because the existential crisis was creeping in. And I thought one evening, what's the point of all this, man? And, despite the fact I was very engaged, I wasn't lonely, or something. I was very engaged in my, corporate role. And I was so grateful for my corporation that I was working at. They were lovely people, but this was all internal. I'm right. So I quit my job and, I kind of closed the door. I traveled for 2 years. I studied the neuroscience, quantum physics, psychology, and practiced very, I would say, famous religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, to have an understanding of life. So anyway, man, so that's what happened. And by the time I got back, I was a different person. So passion discovery was born out of that. That's like 14 years ago, man. So I said, if I feel shitty like this after having things that people are dreaming, I can only imagine how everybody else is feeling that they don't even have, what I had at that moment in life. So again, I kind of made a vow to live my life towards serving others in my own capacity and live my life as if I'm going to die tomorrow. So then I made a decision to moved to a place that I could have again waterfront lifestyle because I wanted it. So that helped me to quite tremendously to become the person that I am today. And that has been my journey since then. So I did still work with corporations afterwards for a few years because again, that was my healthcare, it was my passion. But then I retired a few years ago. That's like 5-6 years ago, full time and doing executive coaching. And with that, we do have Zen Team Building, which is zenteambuilding.com. That's a trademarked proprietary process to my firm. We have empowered thousands of individuals in North America right now, US and Canada, with our program. And we have a hidden potential. Again, that's another trademark program to our firm that we help with what we call we help the entrepreneurs. And then the most famous one is Passion Discovery. Passion Discovery is the most famous one. And then we have helped executives, athletes, and entrepreneurs. That's the biohack to selective attention. So I don't know if you have checked me out, but most of my keynote speaking in many places that I go, it's all about neuroscience of decision making, selective attention, psychological safety. So selective attention is really close to my heart.
Okay, thank you for providing that detail, Hoss.
Of course.
Looking at everything you said, and I want to hone in on your point about maybe when we have gaps between what we want to achieve, that's our goals or our ambition. If we are not getting to where we think we should be, it can be frustrating sometimes. I know you achieved a lot in your 20s, and you said at a point you shut down, you traveled for 2 years, then you came back, you started your business. I know for sure not many people could take that step, right? But what are your suggestions or recommendations to people when they are dealing with that uncertainties or when they are having that gaps between where they hope to be versus where they are currently? What do you recommend that they should try to do in order to get out of that conundrum?
To be honest with you, Bola, you know what? You nailed it. That's quite what do you call it? The dilemma for a lot of individuals, especially nowadays with social media. You know what? You don't know where the fuck you want to be. That's a problem. See, what happens is though, when you want to buy a car, I have a very nice car, and I'm so grateful for it. And I waited a few years to get it ready, and then deliver all of those things. But you know what though? What happens? Even I had a decent car prior to that too. What I'm trying to say is though, you don't know what it feels like to have that car unless you have that car. And then when you have it, and maybe you're not happy with the performance of that car, you feel disappointed. Meanwhile, though, prior to having that car, you feel like all my misery will be gone if I had that car. Right. That wife, that husband, that job, that house, that whatever you name it. You don't know shit, man. That's the thing. The problem is that we think, most of our, root cause of our misery is just because of what we don't have. But no, the truth is that the lack is created as of the ego. And that's the byproduct. The subtitle of the book is what? The path of least resistance to ego disillusion. Because ego is really projecting that hologram of gap for you to feel the misery. So, like, for example, I know you a little bit just because of it. You do a lot of giving a lot of good talks about like career advice and career advancement, and definitely fulfillment as well. And then you have build a little bit of attraction in your career as a podcaster and many other things that you do. But there is an aim for you to have a larger audience. Like you have 2,000 subscribers, but your videos on YouTube, at least, maybe your other platforms are maybe more popular. It's only like, I don't know, very low compared to subscribers. So you think, you know what though, the day that I will become, I don't know, thousands or millions of views, I'm gonna even be more authority in my domain. But again, that's the ego talking. I'm not saying you do that to yourself, but most people are like that. I support a lot of artists that they have podcasts and they're okay with what they're doing. But again, the challenge is that though they think once they have that larger audience, they have reached that pinnacle of achievement. But that's all hoax, and that's all projected by the ego. The truth of the matter is, though, coming back to your question, you said they are here and they want to be here. The gap is really creating that misery. What they could do to achieve it. To know the fact what you have right now, the contentment of your true gratitude for having what you have right now, for who you have become through your journey, not by what you have achieved. That's the key. Because no matter what, I have a client, he makes $1.4 million a month. You think he's happy? No. The thing is, though, just because that chase is like, it was never ending chase, because again, it's created by the desire of the lack, and then it's translated to the want. So anybody who comes to you and say, man, you know what, I'm a director, I want to become a vice president. You ask them, what got you where you are? And often they can't really answer it, because they have been so looking forward to the future. They have been so looking for what they could become to be happier. So what I'm saying is, though, yes, there's a saying, they said, what it got you here, it won't get you there. But at least when you know what got you here, it would have a reflection of who you have become through the journey. That would set you a right path for future automatically. Like, this is what Tony Robbins says. Tony Robbins says, every business owner running the current business and the business that they're becoming, meaning you focus on the business right now is operating, and you're also focusing on the business that is becoming. If you put too much focus on the business that is becoming, you run out of a cash flow, because you don't know what you're doing here. If you put so much focus on the business that is today here, you don't know where you're going. So what happens is, though, but before even you can forecast and project that true goal that is fulfilling for you when you achieve it, you truly know where you are and why you are there. Does that make sense? Do you resonate with that?
Yeah, you are talking about contentment and, enjoying the journey. And it's the journey that will actually build the final process or the final product, so to speak. So I get that. And thank you for sharing that. Now, I know one of your products or service is Zen team building. Can you tell us more about Zen team building and how it can transform teams?
So it's basically the address is I'll definitely thank you for that question. zenteam.com. You can see what it's all about as well for those who are listening or watching. But what it is though, the principle of Zen team building is a self-reflection, meaning that your perception of me is a reflection of you, and my response to you is an awareness of me. So if you truly believe, which is, again, is a neuroscience of human consciousness, if you don't believe it, you haven't reached maturity perhaps, but now you believe, whoever is listening or watching, is that when you truly believe, if your perception of someone else is a reflection of you and you're working in a team environment, then all of a sudden that selfish attitude, it will be dissolved, because then you're not demanding from someone else, and you're not expecting from someone else to do, what you were hoping them to do, but you're more supporting them to achieve their goal in your capacity. Same thing with you. You will more focus on your performance than someone else's performance. And that would create a coherent team altogether, because you're investing in someone else's well-being for sake of their empowerment, not for your achievement. And every what we call misunderstanding in workplace happens just because of that so-and-so is not pulling their weight. So-and-so is not doing what they're supposed to do, or what their goal was set to do. But meanwhile, though, it's a I don't know if you know, it's a biblical term that, you see a thorn in someone else's eyes, but you don't see a log in your own eyes. That's often the case. If you spot it, you got it. If you see Bolo is not doing what he's supposed to do, that's exactly what you are supposed to do. So Zen team building is all about self-reflection. It's all about you want to empower your team. First, you have to look within. You have to understand what you're all about. That's what it's all about. And again, we had quite a bit of success with that in North America, especially in Canada. But definitely that's something that we're so proud of.
And I'll say self-reflection is not something that most people do. So I completely get it. Now,
because again, when you judge, you don't self-reflect. It's easy to judge. Am I right?
Yeah. So you talk a lot about passion discovery. Why is that important? Why is it important for people to discover their passion?
Well, that fuels your drive.
That fuels your
You
drive.
know that again. You know what though? When so human consciousness sees the reality through the story. That's by Dr. Jordan Peterson. So you see the life again through the story, and then again, for you to achieve your goals, you have to have an aim, and then for you to reach your goal, you have to have a drive. And then again, if you don't have the passion for where you're hoping to go, you don't have a drive to fuel your journey. Simple as that. And that's what happens. So look at all of these high achievers, all of these legendary people. All right, none of their kids outran them,
Yeah.
despite the fact the kids had everything that the parents didn't have.
Yes.
Anybody you name it, like for example, if I don't know, Arnold, you know, whoever you name it, that is like, anybody to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely Elon's going to be the same case as well. I know he has a lot of kids to grow up, so you never know. But even that one, and anybody else that was anybody in their journey, they never had their kids to outrun them, because despite the fact they had the biological advancement, they had the resource, they had the, what do you call it, the ultimate biohack, and then they had the what do you call it, the secret sauce of their parents. None of them outran them because they didn't have the drive that their parents had. So if you really want to achieve the goal that is worthy of living for, you want to have that true drive and that true passion. And then again, you know what? That's what's missing. Am I right? Like, that's what people are scrolling to this social media. They have, because they got nothing else to do. That's
Yeah.
just bullshit. They're sucking the energy. That's what we have. That's what so passion discoveries deliverables is what it says: biohack to selective attention. That's what we promise you. Because when you conquer that selective attention, dude, you cannot help but to achieve excellency.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hottest commodity in the market is what? Your attention. Right now, what you're doing? Am I right?
Yeah.
You're creating this beautiful content. So hopefully you have an audience to watch it. So then YouTube and other platforms can pay you. So you're captivating someone's attention. That's all what it is.
Right.
So when you hone that selective attention, you can focus your energy to what is important rather than keep distracted to achieve what everyone else is trying to achieve.
Thank you. So obviously, one of your passion is to help people, right? To discover their own passion. So how do you help other people discover their true passion? What do you do?
So we have the program is actually is a very streamlined program. The first step of the program is the assessment. So we have our unique assessment to evaluate where someone. And again, we do that with businesses too. So when we're optimizing someone's business, the same thing too. In business, it's called environmental scanning. In a personal level, it's called 360 assessment. So basically, you have a beautiful 360 assessment to have an understanding of someone from their strength, from the psychological and personal traits, and then also from their needs and the past experiences. So you have an understanding of where they are at. That is something that first we do that. Then secondly, we talk about like your biases. Like, for example, like, why you're so biased towards certain religion or certain culture or certain ethnicity or certain achievements or mental, what do you call it, social economical status. So you create that because that is geared towards your ego. So, we work on that. And then for a few weeks, we talk about the fact that, what used to mean a lot to you, they are meaningless to you right now. And then what are the root cause of it? Because when we create that pattern recognition with your psyche, then you can reflect on those experiences to project it in a more meaningful and intentional life in future, if you will. Meaning, I want to become that, what do you call it, the best power lifter or bodybuilder or model or whatever you name it, that it didn't really give me the satisfaction that I wanted it. But why did you go in the first place? So we reflect on that experience to create a life of intentionality for sake of higher self rather than your ego satisfaction. So through that process, you end up discovering quite a bit of, I would say, quality about yourself and your personality, and that is a combination of attributes and then strength that it will be combined in form of passion, because that's truly what passion is. I'm right. Something that drives you forward effortlessly. And then through that process, we're going to develop you a roadmap that is a path of least resistance, meaning that, when you are honing down your selective attention, it's just because you're passionate about it. You don't have to discipline yourself. Like, look back in your life, when you are just like right now, what I'm doing, I'm all right, effortlessly, I'm chatting with you. I don't have a script or something. I just came off the meeting for 4 hours straight that I had a meeting. And again, I have like many meetings back to back, many different time zones. Am I right? Am I going to be disciplining myself? And I'm fasting 22 hours a day almost. Like, is this something that is going to hold me back from living my dreams? No. But again, am I disciplining myself? Like, am I trying to not be distracted? No. Effortlessly is happening. Like how Michelangelo carved David for 3 years, 16 hours a day almost. He didn't discipline himself be up there and chiseling it. He just loved it so much. I'm right. He loved the dust in his nose actually when he was breathing, because he hated painting. When he would paint, he couldn't smell the dust. So yeah, man, that's how we help individuals.
Awesome. Now let's talk about your book. What's one key takeaway that you want to let people know about your book, The Journey of Consciousness?
So I think one thing that definitely, again, we had a lot of great reviews, about the book with those individuals who are in this kind of what they call field of a study. One thing that you would definitely take away from it is that you understand how you're being paralyzed with the ego. Simple as that. Because again, once you develop that understanding, you will never look at the life the same. Once you truly understand the meaning of ego, once you separate yourself from ego, again, that's just something that I would say is a beginning of a huge change. Once you understand, oh, that's what it means when you have a grip of the ego. That's what it means that when you are being, what do you call it, slaved to your, egoistic pattern for a self, what do you call it, gratitude and for gratification and for significance seeking, what do you call it, attributes towards achieving something that is meaningless. That's what it means. So once you understand that ego, the term of ego, and you can reflect on it, I think, again, the rest of the book could make sense to you.
Absolutely. Okay, so what's the best piece of career advice you've ever received?
I don't know if I received the best career advice, especially I've been out of employment for so long, and even in last 5 years of my
Maybe
corporate
business
role.
advice, since you are
For sure. I will give you one though. I will give you one that has helped a lot of leaders and what do you call it, decision makers. Because again, the last 5 years of my also corporate role was because I was financial. I wasn't dependent on my role. I was already an entrepreneur. I didn't really need it. So I lived my life as I wanted to live, basically, even as in my corporate role. But you know what? One thing that I wish I would have received was that never do anything to seek anybody's approval. Never do that, because that comes at the cost of self-betrayal. Even you are going to promote, you're going to experience the promotion, you will never enjoy that promotion because you had to sell your soul to get that promotion. Never do something to satisfy someone else. Never seek someone's approval. And then, don't be on time because so-and-so wanted to be on time. Don't deliver this result and that outcome just because so-and-so wanted you to do it. Do what truly speaks to your soul. Because again, if anybody in employment role, just take this reflection and apply it, their satisfaction would jump at least 20% in their role right there. And the byproduct of that will be organic promotion, not so-and-so's approval. And that's why you see when so-and-so's leave a company, people will leave behind it. Why? Because they didn't really connect with the workplace culture. They didn't care about the business mission. They care about so-and-so.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good.
Yeah,
now, rapid fire questions.
Sure.
What's the best book you've ever read?
That would be The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Good. One word to describe your leadership style.
transformative.
A habit that changed your life.
Meditation.
Meditation. So if you weren't in the business of coaching, what would you be doing?
I would be in mindful. Again, I am kind of, because it's a hand in hand. Mindfulness is something that I'm passionate about. Like, it's all about the mindfulness. Once you get that right, I think everything else falls into place to business, career, life, everything else.
What's one skill that you think everyone should master?
Selective attention.
Selective attention. Now, finally, what's your dream vacation destination?
The journey. The journey itself, man. I'm living a life, man. I'm breathing the air that I'm grateful for, and then the rest is just is truly a blessing, to be honest with you. I traveled quite a bit, so like every year I'm on a tour for like sometimes 2 months a year. So I travel quite a bit to meet all my clients that I don't get a chance to meet them in person. So yeah, there's another place that I would say is out of reach at this point, but truly experiencing this very moment is the ultimate blessing.
No, that's good. And it's over to you now, Hoss. What's one final piece of wisdom you'd like to share with my listeners about how to achieve success in their lives?
Honestly, I think, what happens is that when we're talking about, success, I think, again, going back to how we began the talk, is to understand what does that success mean to them and why that is the case. Because often in my experience, that is not their true reflection of self. That is often is defined by the domestication of the society. That's often the case. Because what happens is that when you truly believe the fact that, everything you're experiencing in life in form of achievement, it is a deep reflection of your soul, then automatically you're going to find yourself at the right time, at the right place, say the right things and do the right thing. And that's the hallmark of success. Organically, you're going to be there. And that's truly the case. So when I say selective attention is the biohack to that journey as a path of less resistance, is because you cannot have a selective attention by being a slave to someone else's goal. It's just because selective attention is only granted to you if you truly discover who you are deeply within you. Why were you born, like, to this beautiful life? So I think, again, if I could just put it in one word, self-reflect and have a better understanding of who you are, the success will come as a byproduct because you feel so successful already.
That's so good. And we have come to the end of the show today. Hey, Hoss, we appreciate the time you have spent with us, sharing your wisdom. And to you, my listeners, I hope you found this episode really beneficial. Thank you, Hoss.
I appreciate my man. Thank you so much, Paula. Have a good one.
You too.